There are hundreds of tools that promise to make your business more productive. But the problem isn't necessarily finding another AI tool. It's figuring out which one actually removes the work from your day. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 best tools I've used for business. And rather than telling you which one is just the best one outright, I'm going to show you which one performs best in each sector. So let's start off with the one I think is most productive when your business is revolved around conversations. HappyScribe is built around something that basically happens around every business. Meetings, client calls, interviews, research, internal discussions. The problem is most of what gets said in those conversations disappear as soon as the meeting ends. So HappyScribe is designed to capture that information. It can automatically join your Zoom, Google Meet, or Microsoft Teams meeting, record the conversation, transcribe it, and then turn the transcript into structured notes. So instead of somebody sitting there trying to write everything down, they can actually now engage within the conversation. Now the transcription itself is where HappyScribe gets particularly interesting, because it doesn't rely on one speech-to-text model. It runs multiple ASR engines in parallel and then selects the strongest output for each part of the recording. Then there's a second AI proofreading layer that checks the transcript for things like names, terminology, and contextual mistakes. Because you may have someone speaking Spanish, or maybe another person speaking English. And HappyScribe supports 100+ languages and applies the same workflow throughout all of them. Now when the meeting's finished, this is where it becomes more than just transcription. Because now you can ask the meeting questions like, what did we decide about Q3 budget? Who was responsible for the following up? What did the client say about the new proposal? And instead of searching for a 45-minute recording, you get the answer directly from the transcript. And because every transcript now lives in the same workspace, your meeting history now becomes searchable. And that for me is probably the biggest difference. You're not just creating notes for today's meeting, you're building a record for everything your business has discussed. Now you may be asking, where does HappyScribe fall short? If you're looking for a general purpose workspace, where you can manage projects, build databases, and write documents, there are actually better tools, because HappyScribe is built on conversations and the information that comes from them. And that's why I actually quite like it, because it's not trying to be everything. Now, if you want the opposite approach, this is where Notion becomes incredibly useful. Notion is basically an entire workspace for your company. You can build your documentation, project trackers, databases, meeting notes, product specs, and internal knowledge base all inside the same system. You can have a project connected to tasks, then connect those tasks to team members, and then build different views depending on what you're trying to see. And it also has AI directly built into the workspace. So you can summarize documents, generate action items, translate pages, or even create content without leaving Notion. And for an async team, that's incredibly useful. But there is a little bit of a trade-off, because Notion can become a bit of a dumping ground. And if all you really want is to capture and understand your meetings, you're probably adding a lot of complexity that you don't need. Now this third and final tool is completely different. Loom is basically built around one idea. It's to stop scheduling meetings for something that could have just been in a 3-minute video. You click record, you capture your screen and camera, and then send someone the link. That's it. And I actually think this is pretty useful for some of those remote teams. Because now instead of sitting through a 30-minute walkthrough of a new design, you just send this one clip. Loom also gives you things like transcripts, AI summaries, comments, reactions, and view analytics. So you can actually see if someone watched the full video or whereabouts they stopped watching. But there's still an obvious limitation. It's still just a video. You're not going to be able to search a Loom library in the same way you could just search a transcript. And it still relies on somebody having to record the explanation. So it's still fantastic in communicating information, but it isn't designed to capture everything that's inside a conversation. So now you may be asking, which one should I actually use? And I think here is where these tools get interesting, because I don't actually think they're competing against each other. Notion organizes information your company already has, whereas Loom helps you communicate information. And HappyScribe actually captures information when people actually talk. I think that's where there's an important distinction, because a meeting is probably one of the highest bandwidth activities within a business. So if you're looking for a workspace, maybe choose Notion. If you're trying to replace unnecessary meetings with video, then Loom is great. But if your business revolves around conversations, and you want those conversations to become searchable and reusable information, that's where I personally put HappyScribe at number one. Not because it's a tool that does the most things, but because it solves a problem that almost every business has, and most businesses really haven't solved yet.